All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the World Arena Podcast, aka the
Wow.
WAPcast. Today, Firas and I are joined by Apze's chair.
No.
Apze's filled chair. So yeah, if you wanna go ahead for us and
I know it's been a couple of weeks since the last episode. Relax. I would like to kindly remind you guys, Zig and I are fathers. We have full-time jobs. I run a business. He runs something out of his chair.
An accounting department.
He runs an accounting department. I run an electrical department. Apze plays with himself on stream. We are busy people. We are busy people.
Wait a second.
So sometimes
I need the link to that stream.
Oh, you don't have that link? Yeah, we'll link it in the description after.
Yeah,
that
okay.
was not on Twitch. It turns.
Right, so Zig and I are full-time people of like outside of our.
we are people almost all the time.
Fathers. Yeah, we're people like 90% of the time, except we don't know what happens when we sleep. But aside from that, we're busy. We do our best to record. We talk about it. Sometimes we plan it, and then it just doesn't work out that day. Whatever. We're not full-time streamers, is what I mean to say, or full-time content creators, as people call it. You know, if you want to roast someone, roast those guys who sit at home all day making content, and they fail to do it on a daily basis and fail to maintain a podcast. All right, you go roast them, not us.
Yeah, roast them.
Add us up. Yeah, like we do other shit.
But also one thing you can count on though is if something actually exciting happens in Summoner's War, there will be a WAPcast.
Yeah, we'll do a very emergency, drop what you're doing. Let's talk about this because we're gonna do it anyway. We'll drop like our jobs. I'll quit my job. Go record an episode. Something along those lines will happen. Obviously.
Yeah.
That's it. I just want to let you guys know.
Yeah.
WAP is not dying until Sky Arena dies, which may or may not be our fault. We'll find out by the end of Sky Arena's lifetime, I guess.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm done ranting.
Anyways, back to Summoner's War. We are expecting a balance patch, at least the notes, within like the next 5 days or so, roughly. It's usually around the 25th. I thought someone said it was like the 28th this month that it was going to be, just based on like how many days after the last one it was. But yeah, so what do we think we're going to see? I mean, we've had about a month of this season to kind of see what the meta looks like. So what do we want changed? I mean, what's the main thing?
Well, we obviously expect cookies to get buffed, and we're hoping that they're going to change the meta in some way, shape, or form, but I just don't see that happening.
And Fire Vanilla can do it. Or sorry, not Fire Vanilla. Fire Hollyberry can do it.
You think so? But what can they do? That's the thing. We've spoke about this before, but I can't think of what they can do to her to not make her not viable, or make her vile rune viable without.
The easiest answer, you turn her into a string master, right? You let her build her on Swift. Her speed goes to like a third or half whenever she uses her shield.
Yes.
And then she just sits there forever being annoying. And then if they use ATB reduction, she literally never takes a turn, and they literally never do damage. Like that's the easiest.
What if they gave her like an actual almost like her own special buff that is that shield that just can't be stripped? Right? Because it still has to have the effect. It's almost like because like we have like Lightning Emperor stacks, right, which are like a buff that just doesn't, you can't do anything with it. Yeah. You can't touch it. And then we also have like Curse of Death from the dark thing,
Dumon,
Shizuka. And like why not do it something like that? That way, like, okay, you can still proc, but like you have that shield is up. It cannot be stripped. So like you're still getting the effects of that skill. I guess then the only question is just how long do you make that shield last? Is it 2 turns? Is it like what is it?
I want to say we don't want to make something like a Douglas mechanic or a Douglas position in the draft where it's like if I don't bat in this, I automatically lose 99.99999% of the time. So
Yeah, I just don't know. I don't know if damage reduction's ever going to be that strong.
I
Though.
mean, you could make her. I mean, you could do a weird thing where if it's off cooldown, if she gets hit, she immediately goes into the shield. Like, I mean, there's like lots of ways
like
you can
like the wind
shield into existence. You know,
I'm not opposed to it. Anything they do is probably better than what she is now.
To be honest, though, if I were them, and this is partially biased from using a lot of the water cookie recently, but like I would start by just bumping the base stats of all of those, all the cookie families, like just to see, like maybe the kits are fine, but 96 base speed units are always gonna suck. That's just how That's just how it's gonna be. They're gonna suck. Do whatever the fuck you want to the skills. They're gonna suck. Like
it's kind of silly. Like they've been buffing base speed units slowly, very slowly, but they've been doing it right. They've been buffing the base speeds, but then they released the cookies with 96.
Yeah, like
even everybody knows.
Like even these guys,
every Macro Rune Knight / Hollyberry into an Antares, so they all just steal turns, but they don't kill you. They just act like put shields up and be really annoying.
But like, what about this family? On any of them, any of the 5 needed to be a 101 base speed unit. Like, why can't this be higher? Like, I get it. Like they don't look like fast units. Like maybe it's like an aesthetic thing. They want to like make it kind of make sense or something. I don't know. But like none of these are busted if it's like 105, 106. Like why not start by doing that and then seeing that was Hollyberries that I had up.
Okay.
They're 101s.
Yes.
But they're defense types and they're not very good defense types. So it's like why not give them some more base speed? Like
okay, I was mixing them with the vanilla cookie.
Well, I mean, I'm saying this for all of them, like all the cookies, but like I understand why in this family specifically you want to keep the dark one down. I get that. But like that's just shitty design. Like why does the whole fucking family of supports suffer because one of them happens to be a strip and you don't want to make it insane? Like fuck, man, why? This family's gonna have shit base speed forever just because they decided to mix in an AoE stripper with it. Like, come on.
With a pushback and a AoE slow, it does kind of ruin the fucking.
And in reality, that was like, I mean, like light Battle Angel exists already, so you just give it like a 100. I mean,
I know, I don't see any issue with it.
Actually, yeah, thanks for that reminder.
Is this ever going to be better than Wunsa? Like that boost with a 118? Like,
I mean, the problem is that I personally think that Dark Pudding Princess was designed to abuse turn 2s, and it just so happens that they haven't reached that ascendancy yet.
Yeah,
like because she's really hard to pick early, but she's really good as like a 4th, 5th pick.
Yeah,
but the problem is that you only get the you typically only get the what do you call that the privilege to pick your strippers 4th, 5th if you're already packing. Like you have to have really safe threats to be able to pick them early. Usually you want to pick your threats late. So, like, you can't pick her early because she's so slow that if you go against speed team, she just does nothing.
Yeah, you're just gonna get dogged.
So you basically have to already. She's basically another LD support unit. Like as in like she'd be perfect for me because I can draft like LD threats early, right?
Yeah.
And then you can draft your support or your strips later. But I don't know, like because I can just imagine. Go sorry.
Yeah. No, I was saying you're right. Like that's exactly how she's meant to be used, I think.
But the problem is, some people this is going to be their only LD, so it's like
I know, and
it doesn't work like that, you know.
Oh, then those people just pick Masha, you know. It's like,
that's true. But
now, you know what? Buffing this to 101, 102
I'm cool
is
with
perfectly
that.
fine.
Yeah,
perfectly. It actually doesn't even matter. Thanks to Apze for reminding me. Veronica's exists and Wunsa exists. This thing being at 102 is 100% irrelevant to anything.
It just makes still
Ismo
worse
better
than Veronica.
What's wrong with Ismo being better? I like Ismo. He can be better.
Yeah, he's a nice guy. But
he's a nice guy.
It's like I don't get it. But here's the problem. It's not what they're gonna do.
No,
like
it's not.
we know for 100% certainty that is not what they're going to do. Like
I mean, the problem is most of them don't matter if they're faster. I think what they could do is that they need to give water, in particular, probably needs a speed lead.
oh, don't do that.
Well, I'm just saying, like,
I don't want her to be contested. Is the thing.
Well, okay. Well,
I want her to get
you.
better, but not be a contested pick.
That's a you thing. All I'm saying though is the other way you can make the water vanilla good, or like make it a speed, basically make it viable in a speed team, is that doesn't affect the other ones, would be to give it a speed lead. Like that would be another way, because then you can pick it early, and it allows you to like bring other boosters instead of other speed leads, like that sort of stuff. Like
yeah,
but yeah, that's all. That's neither here nor there, I guess. But
yeah. It's like I mean, I've been using this unit pretty much every game for the past like week or so.
I really want to use her too.
And like she's such an insane unit, but like I obviously acknowledge the fact that I can't tell other people to try her or use her if they can't duplicate the rune set. So it's like that's why I just want the base speed buff. Like then other people can use her the exact same way that I'm using her. I mean, granted, it will also make mine better, which I would appreciate, because I'm still getting outsped by like the occasional robo and shit, which
yours
is crazy.
Better by runes, right? Everyone else's will get better just because their base speed makes them usable. Like, I'm surprised we're like having this conversation about a unit released 5-6 months ago.
Yeah, 96.
Why are we talking about base speed?
I know.
On a brand new unit when they've been correcting base speeds. Like I said already, I'm not repeating myself.
But like this unit, like the reason that I even settled on like starting to use this unit is because I was just like, I was stealing water Ryu from people, and then like you're pretty much always fighting robos, and like I'm like, okay, these things are just way too fucking good. Like the only way I can think of to cut them is to like get up 3 buffs. And she's like the only unit who does it, while one of those buffs is a 2-turn immunity. So it's like you have no other option. Like, and she's so good in that role of cucking Moors if you don't happen to get him, or robos or whatever. But I can't even tell other people to do that, because they're probably just going to get outsped by that robo, and then she doesn't counter it anymore. Now she just hard loses to it.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, I would like her to get slightly better, or at least, because like that was actually the unit I was most excited about whenever the cookies came out.
Me too.
Was that unit in particular,
especially because it had Oblivion too.
Yeah, like I mean, I'll still use it if they make that Oblivion AE or provide some other kind of debuff.
That skill sucks.
Or
really hard.
Or like immediately take a second turn. Really like anything like that will make it much better, right?
Yeah. The risk reward of this skill is so bad. I never click, even when I am fighting passives, I always just take the guaranteed heal from the S1 instead of risking just this thing just dudding. Because I was running like 70-something accuracy, and I'm like, I'm wasting my time. Like, I'm just switching over to pure stats, and I'm clicking S1 only.
Now you mentioned it, the thing about the stat allocation for this unit, you need speed because their base speed's atrocious. You need accuracy somehow, and you need on Vio most likely, because you're never going to rotate a 3-turn cooldown S2
of
Oblivion
such a shitty skill.
Nothing else. That skill does nothing but Oblivion, which is great if it was on maybe a 2-turn cooldown. But even then, that's like
couldn't glance or couldn't miss or what. It's like, oh, I want to Oblivion this Wind Monkey or this Dominic, and there's a 50% chance that you just glance and get nothing. It's like, fuck, it's so bad. This is such a bad skill.
I would be fucking flabbergasted if that S2, for all the ones with the Oblivion S2, do not get some sort of buff to that Oblivion skill specifically.
Has to, because the S1's great. It's actually a pretty fat heal. The S3 is incredible.
That's why I want to use it, but like I already know the results because I just don't have enough to do with it. I hope they increase base speed. We know it's not happening, but let's hope for it anyway.
Yeah, and also too, like, if you're into like the nerdy side of things when you're building your units, like it is so inefficient to build accuracy on a unit that only has one skill that uses it, it's on a 3-turn cooldown, and that skill is only technically valid versus things with passives. Like, if you happened to pick her in a match not against any passives, then your accuracy that you've built on this unit is just gone because there's nothing to Oblivion. So, God, this skill fucking sucks, man. It needs
Or they
to
just gave it. Did you guys already suggest just giving it the bomber treatment, where it just has 50% extra accuracy for no reason?
I would just make it irresistible, honestly.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Though Apze's idea is not bad, because if like Adrian, like you're not going to build accuracy.
You
and
can't.
If you would,
It's too
between
inefficient.
the two options, okay, between the two options for artifacts, would you rather stack S1 heal or S2 accuracy?
S1 heal, baby.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But you're not going to put accuracy on this. If you do, you'll roll like at a little 8% there for S2, which is going to get resisted anyway. So if they do add additional accuracy to this skill, I don't find it horrible. Or if they like additional turn mechanic, I don't fucking know, dude. Just anything, but not a 3-turn cooldown is so bad too.
Yeah, no, this unit is phenomenal, but
Yeah,
she
just
either
the
needs the base speed. I mean, honestly, for most people, it would be wise for them to buff the S2 and the base speed, but I don't really care. Like I can live with the S2 just being a shit skill and never hitting it because the S1's so good and the S3's so good if she just had higher base speed. But for most, like for the average player, I think in order for her to actually be usable, she probably needs both. She probably needs a base speed and the S2. I can see it. What do you guys think about the 4 stars, for example, for the cookies?
Madeline's need a full overhaul. The other ones need...
Yeah, these guys are weird.
They need an overhaul, but they just need to be buffed in like... Every skill needs to be buffed in every way. The espressos, I think some of them are really close to being good, but just not quite.
Effect rate. It's effect rate on these guys. Bro, if I see you picking something that has a 30% chance to freeze on one attack, yo...
just X from now.
Yeah, like you can't use this. You can't even use this in guild con. You can't use this anywhere that anywhere that a freeze would be beneficial to have, which is PvP pretty much, not freezing.
Don't forget
PvE.
I use this on the dark one when I was messing around with the dark one. Well, for obviously the dark one's at 30% chance to stun.
Yep.
But for the ATB reduction into her S3 was kind of cool. But that's it. Like I don't know what they could do other than like increase the chance from 30 to 40, and then that's what they'll do with the cookies. I don't see them doing any more than that, honestly. Like,
these guys also have terrible base speed. Thank you, Com to us.
Except the water one.
Yeah, for some reason. He awakens. It's not. But yeah, I mean, these guys
is okay for a 4-star.
But it's like this is like the fact that Tyrone reduces more attack bar than these guys does, freezes with 100%, slows with 100%, has a speed lead and a 105 base speed. It's like,
thanks for the reminder.
He is better in every single category. Every skill is better. The base stats are better. The speed lead. These guys don't even have a leader skill. It's like, it's just weird to me. Like when they come out with these units, what are they even comparing to like?
Well, we the same thing happened with the last collab as well, right? With the Street Fighter. Well
I mean, yeah, these guys are still awful, other than my boy Kyle.
Windalseem is so good.
Apze is gonna tear you a new one for saying that, right?
What is?
Windalseem's so good.
Yeah, sure he is.
Dude, his effect rates are good. Look at him, he's so good. His second skill needs buffed, but and also
this family is actually pretty good. Yeah, I was gonna say this family as a whole is actually pretty good. Like if Cleave was any good, this unit would actually be sick. That's just the whole archetype of comp that doesn't work. But if it did, she would be insane. Water's good, light's good, dark's good. Whatever. We can't win them all, right? Win ones, whatever. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think for these guys, start with the effect rate if you're gonna buff them. Like
that's the only thing they're gonna do. I wouldn't do anything else.
These guys, this is just bad. The obvious obvious buff to these guys is this needs to give an additional turn. You cannot put this buff up and then just hope it stays there until next turn and then you can actually use your skills. That is never going to be good. It's not. Yeah.
On top of that, even if you gave it the additional turn,
it's still mediocre. It's still mediocre at best. But that is this never should have come into the. There is no shot that they tested this unit anywhere and were like, oh yeah, that's the unit. Like, no, there's no way they found a spot for these anywhere.
I want to just like be what was it? Apze says it, I think. Just be a fly in the wall of these fucking meetings. I want to know what kind of conversation they're having. I wouldn't understand it because it's in Korean, I guess.
Do they have a boss that's like, is their supervisor like asking them like, hey, where'd you guys test this stuff? Did it make any sense at all? And what's the answer? Like,
remember they have two guys. They have an initial concept guy and they have a balance guy.
This is true.
And it's really just one guy who changes hats halfway through the day.
They might have a cohesive plan if they did that.
Yeah. This guy needs a better attack bar buff because.
Do you think it's at 103 base speed? I think it's okay for him to have a better bar. I think it's okay. 20%.
Yeah, it's got to be better because I tried to use this when I was cleaving for a little bit, and it's like it just doesn't work. Like my Lucian needed to be like plus 185 or something like that, and I was like, no thanks.
And if you did 5, I think 5% will let you get away with 160 Lucian,
which is what my Lucian already was to be tuned to my other stuff. So
I'm saying, people, if you don't know, 5% messing with 5% is a big deal anywhere in this game.
Well, especially bar for attack.
Especially bar.
Crazy.
Well, even Nana losing 5% on the revive, right?
Yeah, but I don't want to talk too much about buffs just because.
We're going to get it wrong.
Well, it seems to always just be completely fucking random. What they buff, what they do in the buff. It's always like, realistically, there's going to be 2 Monkey Kings on the balance patch. There's going to be a Paladin. There's going to be a Hell Lady. We know that for sure. And then the rest is just totally fucking random. So, nerfs, okay? We've all been playing this season. I don't know how much you guys have been playing. I've actually been playing more than I normally do. I've already done 453 wings, which is crazy for me. I'm
just 1 day less than you. I've done 420 blazing.
Yeah. So yeah,
not bad.
I've done 244 because of just how good I am that I don't need to play.
Okay. That's true. You are actually fucking peaking right now.
So yeah. What do you guys, if you could nerf, I don't know, 5 units, what would your top 5 be?
Specific number.
Well, what would your top 5 be is what I'm basically getting at.
So thought experiment, or slight thought experiment. Is this selfish nerfs or is this for good of the game nerfs?
3 good of the game ones and then 2 selfish ones.
Okay, lead us, Apze. Or do you want more time to think? Because I'm pretty good. I already know.
I think so. This one will be here. This will cover 2 of them. I still think they need to nerf Oliver again.
Yeah, me too.
100%. Like he's still, the fact that his win rate is still positive and he's picked over 60% of the time is
those numbers are just funny. Like
even if like he wasn't the unit that everyone hated, or not even the unit that everyone hated, even if it wasn't, I thought, for the good of the game, at this point it's been Oliver meta for it feels like a year.
It's into a year.
Even if it's just a hard reset, hey guys, figure out a new meta to play with.
It's like 10 months.
Just fucking dunk him, okay? Just give him his time out in the pasture so everyone else can have a little bit of fun.
Yeah,
and then rebuff him later. This is something that Comtos isn't practicing enough.
They never rebuff. They never do it.
And they can. Who said you can't? You have every 2 months you're releasing a patch. you can dumpster a unit, get statistics, and say, okay, we'll knock it. Like, I want to see fucking, what's his name? Dark Bison, Urka. Give him the 5% recovery. You don't need to, the stats are there. You obliterated him. Give him 5% heal the next 2 months, and then we're fine. You don't need to wait God knows how many years until you buff another unit. Oliver can be dumpstered, and if it's, buff it later if needed. You guys made a unit that clearly is absurd for this game. You don't know how to balance it anymore. Nobody can even suggest anything at this point. Just dump it.
Yeah.
And then buff it again later.
The problem is they refuse to take away speed leads, because I don't have any problem with Oliver except for the fact that that speed lead is way too fucking good for a unit that's so versatile.
Yep.
A unit of Oliver's versatility and power is perfectly fine in my opinion until you give it a 33 speed lead. You can't just do that. It would be like giving Oki a 33 speed lead. Oki is considered bad right now. If you were to give him a 33 lead, he would instantly be ridiculous. That's just the issue. They can fiddle with his skills all they want.
It's not going to matter.
It's pointless.
You can't keep him at 33 without totally butchering his skills anymore. And who's going to use a fully gutted Oliver skills? Imagine,
it just becomes Vanessa, who's never used.
Exactly. And you can't even force Vanessa to if you use Vanessa to speed contest and you do outspeed with Vanessa,
she's so
it
low
doesn't
impact.
matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. You still lose because you've done nothing. And that's what Oliver has to somehow become. Maybe as good as Samaf, maybe.
Okay, what's your next one, Apze?
I don't know.
We've beaten the Oliver horse to death.
I don't want to talk about it anymore. Let's hear it.
Still on good of the game.
I mean, the problem is, so for good of the game stuff, I think they need a nerf in general, the high pick rate stuff. So, I mean, they probably need to re-nerf more, hopefully in a way that doesn't make him terrible.
Yeah.
It's just the problem right now is there's only a couple speed leads that matter. And so right now, the pick rate is less, I think, of even how strong the unit is and more how bad the rest of the speed leads are as first picks.
Yeah.
And so, and maybe that needs to be, that might even be a philosophical change. Maybe don't put good speed leads on units. Take speed leads away from strippers. Get rid of Chiwu, get rid of or get rid of anything that basically allow
I don't think they can do
roll
that.
unit, right? Units
they won't.
I mean,
it becomes well, okay.
I want it.
You can do that if those speed leads go to some other high impact unit, which I don't know if that's better or worse. I think that's worse, because then what happens is you move that speed lead over to something that's an AoE, something, I don't know, maybe some sort of pushback unit, maybe fucking Charlotte or something weird gets it, right? I don't know, maybe not a bar booster, just something. And then that overvalues units like Wunsa and stuff, right? Because right now it's the one downside of Wunsa, who's a really, really strong unit, is that you have to pick speed leads with him. But the speed leads that are good are mostly strippers, so they're already doing his job anyway. So it's it becomes really awkward to draft. But if you move speed leads off of AoE strippers and put them onto units that are just generally good, then you start to combine those with 118 base speed Wunsa, who needs the speed lead, and he just starts, busting head. My biggest question though is there's something in the game right now that is telling us, don't use Ciara, don't use Chiwu. It's not just because more is better. It's because what you're going to fight, more deals with better, right? And so it's to me, the biggest issue is you can't use Chiwu because Triple Revenge Vert is going to just crush your hopes and dreams. Now Chiwu's
himself.
Yeah, and now Chiwu is speed scaling, so now even Leo fucking puts in work against it as well. So now it's it's a double whammy of that toxic duo countering the shit out of Chiwu.
Yeah.
To me, it's the problem isn't necessarily that Moore is better than other speed leads. It's that he deals with the things that people are going to pick versus you better than other speed leads. And I think that's a problem with the counter picks more so than him. I mean, not that I'd care if they ban Moore. I hate using him because he's so unreliable stripping.
Yeah.
But I pick him because I hate fighting him. So it's like, I'm okay if they nerf him.
So
but
I don't really want them to nerf Moore because I do think, well, one, I like Moore. Moore's basically been my favorite unit for a long time.
We love spinny boys.
We do love spinny boys. The problem I have is just in general, high pick rate stuff is, in my opinion, I forgot that this isn't what I think they're going to nerf versus what I want nerfed, I guess. But
this is wants, dreams.
Units I want nerfed is, like, in general, the units that I want nerfed are anything with a passive that basically performs the reaction for you.
Yep.
Like, aka anything where it helps you win with you making 0 decisions is a bad unit. That
was going to be my whole list.
Yeah,
like
that's pretty much
like Ragdoll, Bird, kind of Juno,
Douglas.
Say it, Apze.
Tion Lang.
I mean,
Jackson.
I do agree with Douglas, but only philosophically because I don't have any problems with him generally myself.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah,
I know. I'm just saying.
I mean, I don't either. But the reason I don't have any issues with him is because I've designed my team to not have any issues with him, and I hate being in that. I don't like being in that pigeonhole.
You can do that. You can do that with Douglas, but
you can do that with anything.
Certain units you can't really do that. Like Ragdoll has basically no real counter.
Yeah, Ragdoll for sure.
Like even Triple Revenge Bird's that way a little bit. Unless like Leo kinda. So Leo has never really bothered me that much. It's the units that go with Leo that piss me off.
Exactly.
Well,
that's exactly what it is with Leo.
Well, the problem with Leo is that, like, the issue is partially the units that go with him, but it's also the fact that you can't ban the units that go with him because you gotta ban him. You can't just let them gut your entire rune efficiency.
So that's just a difference in, I guess, like also how much LD abuse I can put into the game. But I never ban Leo. Like if they pick Leo, I'm like, hell yeah, they picked the dead unit. Like I love seeing Leo. The problem is I don't like seeing Leo plus Ragdoll, Jackson, Diana, Bird. Like and then I'm just like,
because then there's no ban. There's no good ban. Yeah.
You can ban 2 of them and you still lose somehow.
Yeah.
Like if it's not an attack bar stealing, like abusive unit that has super low speeds that go with Leo. Leo himself, I have 0 problems with because I'll just kill him and the rest of his team. It's just whenever they have, the Abellio, Ragdoll, Bird kind of team. It's just like, okay, dude.
Yeah.
I think what would be my third, because I'm agreeing with everything Apze has said so far. Oh, we didn't add like our peaking fire unit, Masha. For some reason, people think she's fine. I don't think she's fine. You can't have a unit that does not get countered by even, like, she's speed scaling, but still does not get nerfed by Leo.
She is not definitively countered by anything unless it's water. Like that's like the baseline to a unit that counters Masha is like a water unit. And like, I don't know. I just, for me, I don't have that big of an issue fighting Masha, but it's like all other fire units are just irrelevant. Like what kind of a damage dealer do you have to create to get them above Masha and being
or
used
even
again?
Equal, right? Or even just equal. It's like
we live in a world where like you are better off with Masha having no strip on her defense break nuke than using Daphnis, who does a defense break nuke while also stripping all buffs. Masha has somehow power crept that unit while basically having the same skill that doesn't strip, and she's better because she's so much stronger in every other facet. She's harder to kill, she's harder to counter because she can't be pushed back, and she gives herself an immunity. It's like, it's crazy how you can power creep a unit like Daphnis, who has like one of the best third skills ever in like Summoner's War history. You've power crept that unit with a different defense break nuker who just every 2 turns takes 85 to 90% of the HP off of a unit as if it's like a fucking Molong with no drawback. And
we're not suggesting, or at least I'm not suggesting, a heavy nerf to Masha. I'm just saying, like, remove that. She gains speed.
Yeah, that part is
crazy. You need to understand what Masha is. She's a 126 base speed unit. 126.
123, but close enough.
Oh, I'm thinking of Spectra. 123, whatever. I'm not that far off. All right, relax. I use Masha still, but gives immunity. Even if you strip the immunity, you can't control her unless you stun her, because you can't push her back. Like, you marginally push her back. It's irrelevant if you do. She just gains the speed because you push back. She gains speed. She can't have this many effects as a single unit and self-protection, and the insane damage output. It's nuts.
Yeah, and you have the second life mechanic too, and like
yes.
And the thing is too, I think something that people don't realize is like Beast Riders got a change like years ago, where when they die they keep their buffs. So now that you have a unit that constantly gives herself immunity, then even if you dismount her, she keeps her fucking immunity until the next turn. So it becomes even harder to kill her. It's like that was supposed to be a nerf back then, but they didn't buff themselves. Now this unit buffs themselves, and now that nerf from back in the day is now technically a buff for what is now Masha.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
No, like, it's not like, and Masha's saying that when she gets dismounted, well, she's typically on Nem. And she gets double the attack power once she's dismounted.
Yeah, she just lights something up.
And it's fine that she does those things, but she can't do that many things. And when all these other fire units are like crawling,
no other fire unit will ever be good until she's nerfed. It's just
Masha
not going to happen.
Is here, right? Who's the next best fire unit after that?
Juno.
Counterpicks, yeah. Juno and Verd, honestly, they're the next two.
And Verd, and Douglas. I would add Douglas because I hate Douglas, but like, maybe Douglas is like, to me, he's over here, not to everyone else, but to me he is. And they got Verd and Juno, which I agree is like the next two. Then everything else below it is just memes. Yep. It's actually just all memes. I use Carnal a lot. It's a meme that I use him. He's countered so much it's not even funny, but.
Yep.
That's my take on Masha, at least. She's got to be toned down. Don't gut her. She does not need to be gutted. I think she's a great unit because Wind is still stupidly busted, even if they nerf Oliver again. Charlotte is still insane. I meant to say Chunk Punk first, who would be a nerf on my list if they nerf Oliver. They have to nerf Chunk Punk, if you ask me, because that's still a ridiculous unit. Because you just go back to a year and a half ago if you just nerf Oliver. Chung Pung becomes your next best wind unit, which is already the next best wind unit. And he's going to stay one of the most contested things after, which is just, like, it's just, why go back to the same process? Nerf him at the same time a bit. I don't know how.
Okay, how about for these next two, though, we go specifically LDs, right? Because there's almost always at least one or two, like, fan service LD5 nerfs on these balance patches lately. If you could, like, because they don't always do something, but if you could put two on it, because they almost never nerf more than two LD5s at once, who would your two be?
Volantis.
Yep, he was mine. Yep.
You can't just dice roll unit.
I mean
the outperformers right now, as LDs go, is, let's see,
Veronica for sure, right?
Not as much as you'd think.
The problem is she's still not owned enough.
Veronica, there's not enough of her, I think, for it to be that crazy. Like, because for instance, her pick rate's 6%, approximately, with a 53% win rate, but Angyoki is 12% pick rate with a higher win rate. Angyoki's actually, by the numbers, a lot better.
What is his win
Veronica.
Rate?
53.5% at a 12% pick rate.
Fuck.
That thing, you want to know why, though? Because he always gets stunned when you don't want him to be stunned.
But this meta is, like, perfect for him. He shreds these like, for one, we're in just, like, a Giga Despair meta right now, right? Like, there's, like, fucking 4 Despair units in every match between the two teams. It feels like, at least. he crushes like the Josephines and the what, like he's going to beat those units 100% of the time every time he fights them. So like, I don't know, because he hasn't changed over these past couple of seasons. Like they haven't done anything to him buff or nerf wise, but now all of a sudden he's just a Giga Chad. I think it's just the meta, really. Like he just cuts up these teams that are being used right now. But,
he's good against Josephine. He's good against a lot of things. I'm trying to think.
I mean, everything turn 2, he's good against.
Monkey.
Even he's even wicked good against Shizuka because she can't not throw a stun back to him or whatever. If she wants to click S3, she's going to put something, you know, if there was a stun at any point in the game, she's going to put it on him. And now he's invincible again. So,
yeah, so the outperforms by percent, like pick percent, is as always Ragdoll.
Yep.
Ragdoll is still fucking busted as shit, and he will always be busted as shit.
King of the game.
I'm convinced that you can't nerf him, or they will never nerf him because like they'll piss off too many people who bought accounts. But yeah, so
I
by
don't
pick
think
percent,
they care, but I think people overrate how much they give a shit about that.
I think you're actually right. I don't know how long he has to be performing at his level to eat a nerf though, because like he's been like 30% plus pick rate as an LD5 for an insane amount of time. Also,
and he's
like,
always been the highest win rate unit. Like he might not be the literal highest right now, but like he had a stint where he was like 10 seasons straight of the highest win rate unit in Summoners War, which is just crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that he's just an egregious unit. But yeah, so by pick rate, it's Ragdoll. By win rate, surprisingly, is like Ungyoki, but like I don't know. I would probably, if I had to pick an LD that I'm just like personally annoyed by, Volantis is way up there because he's that dirty combination of high pick rate LD with a non-interactive passive that fucks you.
Yep.
Yes.
Like he's literally every bad part of things I dislike about the game combined.
Yep, me too.
And
I want him.
Yeah, so Volantis is pretty high up there. Actually, the second highest by the numbers win rate is actually either Tian Lang or Nikki. Weirdly enough.
Yeah.
Tian Lang is just as an experience.
Here we go.
I'm not saying to buff him or nerf him, but his success is determined by literally probably just Verd. If Verd is not a thing, Tian Lang. And Ragdoll, yeah. I was trying to think
Oliver right now, and Tomo, and fucking
there's a lot. And
Volantis and Diana a little bit.
But to be fair, all right,
all the oracles,
and Han, and all the oracles, and Maximilian, and Water Rio
is the best LD5 in the fucking game right now. All right, Tian Lang is so fucking good, dude. Just not fighting this bullshit anymore.
This is, but like. I actually do agree that he is the best LD5 in the game, but what bothers me more than powerful units, though, is high variance units. That's why I hate Volantis with a fucking passion, because neither player has any fucking idea what's going to happen until they see what happens when there's a Volantis involved. You don't know if he's going to revenge, you don't know if he's going to cut, you don't know if he's going to provoke, you don't know if he's going to stun, it's like you have no fucking idea. Neither player, because like all the Volantis players are going to be, and we have some friends that have Volantis, a couple of them, because apparently everyone just started pulling Volantis.
We use the term friends loosely, all right?
No, we love Glory and Rax, okay?
Love Glory and Rax.
They're gonna,
and Ricky.
And Ricky, I forgot he has a team. Fuck, everyone pulled Volantis, but either way,
I know it was really weird.
It's going
and Juggernaut. I'm the Juggernaut. Pulled it last year. The same time I pulled Tian Lang, he was pulling Volantis. All the streamers got LD5s in December, if you guys didn't know for some reason.
Even me included. No, I did. I got wedge shot.
You got wedge shot. That's right.
You know something's up if I get one too.
Yeah.
But
it's conspiracy's been confirmed if Ziggy goes.
But all of them are going to come down. Every Volantis owner is going to be like, yeah, but the games where he doesn't revenge, that's the fucking problem. Your unit is completely random. Like, yes, all the games that he doesn't revenge, he's shit. in all the games he does revenge, he instantly wins you the game. That's exactly my fucking point. Like, it's insane when I hear like Glory or Rax or whatever. They're like, no, but like you guys have to use him. Like you got to use him and see all the games where he doesn't revenge. And it's like that's what bothers me, is that his variance is win the game on the spot or do absolutely fucking nothing. That's a horribly designed unit.
Okay. Two things I want to say about Volantis. First thing, Volantis was my most wanted LD5.
He still is mine because I'm fucking tired of fighting him.
It's not because this was before he was buffed or anything. Just because I loved everything he did while I owned a Nyx. I thought that was cool. So let's say I owned the Volantis now. I would still rune him at a plus 180 set on Despair. So I'm not reliant on the fucking dice roll bullshit.
What do you mean? You still are reliant. If you don't get that bar from a cut, then you're just getting AoE.
No, but I would still I'm gonna use him as a stripper, just like I would use more, just like I use Chiwu. I would use him in that sense. I'm not gonna ruin him on a plus 160 set and then hope that I can cut when somebody pokes me. I hate that play style. Second thing, all right.
I think that's how everyone already uses him, at least in G3.
That's about that. Like, do you think they ruin him at a 180 set or whatever their highest
in
set
G3
is?
at least? Yeah, I think he gets.
I
think he gets everyone's best despair set in G3.
But do you guys think if he was, and I remember we spoke about this on my stream like a few weeks ago, if Volantis was consistent on the revenge but with a lower bar gain, is this better or worse?
Okay,
so I have 100% chance to revenge and gain 10 bar as an example.
That would be pretty bad because then he would absolutely just dick stomp anyone who doesn't bring a secondary immunity because he'd just be dropping like stuns on literally everybody the entire game.
But is it better than a 50% chance of 20?
No.
Is it better or worse?
It's way
better.
It balanced? It's way
better.
Like he's way better. Not it's way better for the game. He's way better if he's always getting that.
What if it was 5%? What is it? So is it better to just remove?
No, this is the buff.
What do they do?
This is the buff. Okay. You remove the dice roll.
Change. Yeah.
You remove the dice roll. There is no revenge. There is no bargain. You give the druids a higher base speed, and you let him be on par with other AOE strip base speeds, and then the rest of the druids get some love too because they're fucking shit, except for Abellio.
Oh yeah, Abellio.
But base speed does nothing for Abellio, so it doesn't even fucking matter.
Actually, that would help my pattern. Now that I'm thinking about it, I forgot I had.
That's what I would do. I would, because right now. They gave him this bargain because he's a fucking 99 base speed AoE stripper, and everyone knows that's fucking garbage in a meta that previously, when he got buffed, was like Chiwu meta, right? And it's like, you're not going to use Volantis. He just gets Chiwu 103 with a speed lead, claps him, pushes him back. Like, that's why they gave him the revenge. But now, just remove the revenge, give him a reasonable base speed for an AoE stripper, and just let people use him. Like an AoE stripper that also has a really cool S2. So like
all his skills are like really good.
Yeah, just let people use him like a real fucking unit instead of a Luxac unit.
Would the Volantis owners be salty that they leave Verd as a thing? But like you think it's Volantis?
They can eat my fucking shorts for all I care, dude. Like
But they should change Verd at the same time.
Bunch of troglodytes.
Booga booga. But I'm not saying like you're wrong. Like I fucking hate Volantis' existence. Well, they changed. I used to be my most loved, my most wanted LD5, and then they made him a dice roll unit, and I fucking hate him now. It's such a shame. And I'm trying to think, is there a way to make him where he's predictable and still good and doesn't piss off everybody? And I guess like I don't know, your way was just actually still piss off all the Volantis owners currently.
Well, even though, like, no matter what, whatever they do to him needs to be in some way a nerf. I mean, don't fucking buff the guy. So yeah, the Volantis users are gonna be salty because whatever it is needs to be a nerf. Do not buff him. So yeah, they're gonna be salty. But I mean, that's what happens. Like you'd still be better off than the fucking Gurkha owners right now.
Well, by a fucking long shot.
Yeah.
You know what they should do with Gurkha? They should just give him a built-in vampire, so that you have to build him DPS.
You have to do some damage. Yeah, it's just another shit passive unit that I like.
They can.
I feel bad for people who lost their viable LD5, but I'm glad to see a passive unit actually get fucking nerfed.
Yeah. But not in that way though. That's like we can't have them nerf shit to
Just-
like unplayable levels.
They should just rework him if they like. I don't know, like, because what like giving him a heal back, like to me, even if it is 5%, like that's still just too good because he still just has an infinite chain. You still just stack up an S3 recovery artifact on the right side and heal a bunch and fucking.
But you can still break through it. It's not a guaranteed 1v4. Like
Yeah,
still,
it's
do a lot of damage.
you now are required to like get the game down to like a 1v3 and then you can win. Instead, before it was just
arguably a better position.
Yeah.
Arguably.
So I don't know, but yeah, I mean, I think we're all in agreement with Volantis. Would love to see him nerfed.
You know what they should do with him actually? Instead of having him heal, they should give him they could also give him a mini Borgnine kind of a thing. Like anything taunted that hits him does like half damage or something.
Well, that's what I was thinking too, and I know that all fucking Gurkha owners would be pissed to trade out healing for damage reduction, but I think that's reasonable. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, because that way he doesn't just get clapped, but he also just can't go literally infinite. Like,
I think they did. No matter what they do, give Gurkha something this coming patch, please, because I actually feel bad for the Gurkha guy.
What if it's for every? What if it's for every provoke that is on the field? He gains like 10% damage reduction. So like you can provoke those two things, but not the Dominic because it had will, and you still take less damage from the Dominic.
I think that is fucking pretty good, actually. Just because you said Dominic, and I think about how this guy can just obliterate anything in existence. Same with Masha. She would fit in that category as well.
Yeah, because like you can't, because that's a big thing with Masha. You can't provoke her, right? She's permanently immune. So like if you could provoke those two things and take 20% less from a Masha, that
you just made me think of the dark future where they just here. Well, do you want to hear a post-apocalyptic scenario that happens this balance patch?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, they buff for whatever reason another egregious turn 2 unit to the point where turn 1 effectively dies.
Okay, this sounds too real to me.
And then you realize that literally the only reason Dominic isn't like a 100% pick rate is because he can be CC cleaved. And then Dominic literally rises to the top of the game, and we get 2 months of a 100% first pick Dominic meta.
Yeah. That is the only thing keeping Dominic back, is the fact that teams that get out in front of him just pound his face in. But yeah, I could see it.
There's my real world balance patch prediction.
But I'm trying. What is this unit though? If it's not,
it could be anything, man.
It has to be equivalent to Douglas.
No. You just make the easiest thing if you want to kill turn 1 is you make something similar to a Nat 5 Antares, so that you can then pick Antares and a Nat 5 Antares.
I would rather see a more accessible Tian Lang. I've always asked for more.
Imagine. Okay, and also here I'll bring in a unit just because I think it'd be awesome if they did this because I would just be an Antares drafter. Okay, they give Fermion effectively Antares passive. Okay. So he basically gets to steal a turn. Too far. Hold on, he gets to steal a turn, armor break, taunt.
We have come full circle here, okay? We started this podcast with we hate passive units that just win games with no player inputs. I'm not saying I would have any self-respect, okay? I'm not saying that I wouldn't be the worst person on the planet after I did it, but I would 100% be first picking Antares into a Fermion, like every game. I hate it.
You're an idiot.
No, like, I mean, let's be real. Like, the buff's going to go to Fire Monkey, right? And so it's like, what could the buff to Fire Monkey be? Like,
No, it's not going to be Fire Monkey. It's not. I don't think Fire Monkey gets it again.
They should give him the Windy buff, where if he gets touched, he puts a shield up on the team based on, I don't know, something. His defense. His attack power.
Actually, I feel like...
defense. It has to be
I feel like the egregious buffs this time are actually going to be on the cookies. It's that'll
be.
go to like the fire cookie, or
Water
something.
cookie?
I
So,
think
like,
you're right. Honestly, okay, let's go back to reality. Apps is 100% right. The
Dude,
cookies
tell me
are
this
gonna be
unit
the
is not
ultimate-
so daunting if she ever gets good. Like,
No,
The-
she,
she-
just
she
needs a
is-
heal. She just needs a heal.
this
I'll
unit,
fucking use
this unit scares the shit out of me.
dude, we're gonna be. You know what's happening? We're all gonna be Hollyberry Cookie, Molly, and Terry's drafters in 1 week from now, and it's
Who wants to buy a Grogan Wedge Out account? It's now up for sale. I have Swift runes and Grogan.
all that it'll mean is like if people so what actually happens though if it goes to that kind of a draft where people are picking like super defensive passives is that Oblivion just goes absolutely wild next season. It's not gonna
There's
be
no
CC.
Oblivion units.
Well,
That's
some of
never
the
gonna
discounted ones.
that's
You're getting
never
up,
gonna
though.
happen. There's no fucking Oblivions.
Shut up. Shut up. The cookies are getting buffed, meaning their Oblivion gets buffed. Therefore, there's more Oblivion.
Well,
in the game.
it better strip and be irresistible because
No, they're gonna turn that Oblivion into like a mini ISIS without the silence.
Oh,
it's
they got power
not
creep
going to
ISIS.
be AOE.
They're power creeping ISIS. That's what it is. We figured it out.
Well, no, ISIS will still be strong for a couple reasons, but like what I'm thinking is like, for instance, that one of the strengths of ISIS is actually the fact that she doesn't do damage, but at the same time, it's also kind of a counter thing because she can't despair people. Like those things could be either an AE Oblivion or it could be like, imagine they did like a robo chain attack kind of a thing. Like if it lands Oblivion, it tries to hit the next one and it lands Oblivion, like that kind of thing.
Ooh.
Like you could do like all kinds of stuff like that where it's like kind of an AE. I don't see why they don't do more Wind Robo stuff where it's just like successive like checks to lower the overall efficacy without making a true AE.
It would be fun at first, and then it would become like the most tilting thing. This game has
No,
probably
you know why it would be the most tilting is because I would draft that Wind Robo. I would draft every one of those chain attacks that take like 15 seconds each, and I would make everyone's match take like 45 minutes.
Somehow your turn 1 comp ended up as long as a turn 2 comp.
Dude, you just bring Ganny, Wind Robo, the cookies, and then you just start like stealing their attack bar and then recycling the Oblivion to make it take even more time.
This is absurd.
We do need more Tessas though. Like if they're gonna buff, if they're gonna do like some buffs to turn 1, like we need Nat 5 aggressive style Oblivion units. Like you just need it. Like it's come too far with passives where like you could literally first pick Tessa for 30 wings tonight, and people will gladly take 5 passives into you and just ban the Tessa because he's your only fucking option. You can't pick any other one. So
that was 100% the ISIS effect. Whenever I was running that, the Nyx Nora team was just like you would just second pick ISIS, and every game it was just
they
like,
just stack more passives. They don't fucking care.
because passives are so good that there is no actual counter pick aside from ISIS. So they just ban ISIS. It's like, okay, dude.
It's the most ridiculous thing because they're never gonna like go through and sweep through all the passives and nerf them the way that they should. Like that's not going to happen. So you got to give people a way to fight it.
Yeah, and honestly, that is one way they could fix the passive meta is to make enough strong, like AE Oblivions or just strong Oblivions in general that it actually like there's a drawback to picking passives because like right now there's not. Like honestly, this might be a dark cookie thing, but like they need to make an actual slow stripper that strip Oblivions. Like it just needs to be in the game, in my opinion. Like there needs to be a way to be like, fuck you, you pick too many passives. This is now a force ban. Fucking deal with it.
The same way right now, if you pick too many AoEs, Vert is that force ban, Douglas is that force ban. Like they have that option. You know?
A strip Oblivion on a single target is not a horrible thing.
No, fuck single target. What the hell are you talking about?
You want AoE?
Yeah.
It has to be a dark LD5.
Actually, that might be a thing for Water Cookie. Imagine like a super debilitating single target strip. Like kind of like how Chiclet is, or used to, I can't remember what her state is now, but like the whole thing where it's just like,
We don't
how about
talk
like
about
water
chickens.
cookie is a single? Well, hold on. What if what if single target or cookie was water cookie and dark cookie? I guess was like a single target strip into like Oblivion, armor break, slow, stun, just like literally every single debuff at once.
Oh, it's like
kind
the
of
it's like the vampire skill almost, right?
yeah.
Cadiz.
You basically you give like a second skill vampire skill
Where
to
is
the
it?
water cookie, except it's like, hey, this one unit, fuck this unit in particular, and it's like literally just the most hosed unit that
Yeah,
exists.
that's literally if Cadiz had Oblivion, which I wouldn't be upset about. I mean, I don't have him, so I wouldn't benefit from it, but because he strips with every hit, does what? Attack power, attack speed, and buff block.
I think he only strips with the first skill, actually, right?
Yeah, it's
Was
only
it-
his S1 that strips.
Wait, what? I thought it was part of his passive.
No.
Oh,
Just his S1.
rip. Never
It's not a
mind.
bad thing.
Give Cadiz a
But
strip. Cadiz
Give it to the
2023.
cookies.
But no, I think that would be a kind of cool thing to do to those cookies is like literally make that second skill be a, hey, I'm going to dunk your unit like right into non-existence, and
Yep.
there's jack shit, and like I mean, literally even throw on like I would make it literally the skill would be like 10. It's an active skill that's not a passive. It would be 10 lines long of every debuff, and also doesn't glance or even
Oh,
auto crit. Fuck 'em.
wait.
Just,
We can-
I
we
mean, no,
can-
not auto crit. Just doesn't glance.
We can combine your previous idea with that idea. It's a chain. It has to land the first debuff, then it
Oh
does
my
another hit and
God.
lands the next debuff, then it does another hit and lands the next debuff. So it's like a fucking 8-hit skill if you continue to chain land everything.
Just give it to Dark Robo S3. Change all the dots for debuffs,
Yes.
and then just let it have the Wind Robo ability of the S3 where it keeps chaining, and just do that.
Yeah, I
Give it to
agree.
Dark Robo. There we go. See what's Dark Robo.
And
Can I
make
please
it,
get a Dark
and make,
Robo?
hold on, and make each hit not actually apply the debuff. In fact, it procs a second hit that applies the debuff, so it's 16 total hits.
Oh my god.
Yeah, you do one hit, it checks to see if that previous debuff was there, and then it's like, okay, it was. So now we chain into this. Now we do the next hit where we apply a new one. No,
Okay, this is a good idea.
but
This
no,
might be
we,
the best
but
idea
we do
on
need
what.
more Oblivions, though. Like, on a
Yeah.
serious note, there needs to be some fucking Oblivions. Like, you can literally first pick Tessa, and no one will give a shit. They will pick 5 passives right in your fucking face, and then just ban your first picked Tessa. Like,
I mean, what viable Oblivions even are there? I mean, there's Isis, obviously. There's Tessarian, and then after that,
that's it.
Herney.
The-
Herney's
yeah,
probably
but they're not.
third.
Herney, it has to be an aggressive unit. Like,
No, I know. I'm
Because
not saying
the-
that.
the
I'm
teams-
saying she's the next best
yeah,
one.
but like the teams that are getting passive dunked right now are aggressive teams, right? That is the way to beat aggression in this game right now is pick units that require no inputs and just have 5 passives that counter the aggression. Like,
Yeah.
so you can't just splat, like even these cookies, like it just doesn't work. Like Oblivion on a unit like this just does not work. It has to have some form of aggression. And like, it honestly, at this point, it kind of has to be on the AoE stripper. Because if you're not getting your passive until the second unit who moves, it's probably already too late. Like, your Chiwu probably already got Verd revenged, and now you just fucking lose anyway. So it's too late at that point if it takes till the second unit to be able to actually throw the Oblivions out.
yeah, I kind of agree. I think it's time for a strip Oblivion.
100% agree.
AoE or single?
AoE, 100%. I
Yep.
mean, like, so I wouldn't mind
I don't even know if
single
single target
if it's
would matter.
I wouldn't mind single if it's on an accessible unit, because the thing is like honestly, even single is probably fine because then you could use it in the same way that a lot of passive drafters do, which is like a lot of time a passive drafter isn't drafting like necessarily 5 super egregious passives. They're drafting 3 super defensive ones and then 2 that let them cut. Right?
Yep.
Like they're like, so if you can ban one of the cut units and then Oblivion the other one, and then the rest of your team can actually start working on the like defensive ones, then it's kind of like you have a real match on your hands instead of a oops, you stripped me and now I put up another immunity and then I guess I win because cool.
Yeah. I would say it definitely needs at minimum we get a single target strip, and if they introduce an AoE one in the form of an LD5.
What good does that do? Okay,
Okay,
this
LD4
is the
LD4.
guy who was just complaining that there's not accessible alternatives to Tion Lang, but he wants a new
kidding.
LD5 to have the AoE strip
Relax.
Oblivion. Oh my god.
I have an idea. Let's put that AE strip Oblivion on Volantis.
Cashmere.
Oh my god, yeah. Wait, what?
No, actually Veronica. Actually Veronica.
Oh yeah, that'd be
Veronica
great.
deserves it. I think she deserves it, 100%.
Oh, they
Okay,
could put it on fucking anything. I don't even care.
I think we should go back to right now, though, is what we were talking about before we started podcast. Where we're talking about people need to understand that the current most picked units are. It doesn't matter what their win rate is. They're picked so much and for so long, it needs to be changed. I know we kind of spoke about it, but like the numbers we didn't speak about. I think, and I think we should cover the numbers, unless you guys felt like that's been covered.
And honestly,
we talked about all of those numbers, and
the other thing to keep in mind is outside of LD5s, there effectively are not elemental. I mean, this is just a plug for nerf LD5s, but there are not high win rate normal element units aside from Nana, and even Nana's 52%, which is like
still lower than several of the LD5s.
But there's a lot of LD5s that with higher win rates, and there's multiple LD5s with higher pick rates than Nana.
But Nana's
every
by Ragdoll, right?
Like, what's that?
Nana. The only reason Nana's is higher though is just because she's always paired with Ragdoll.
I mean, sure, but her win rate's higher than Ragdoll. Like Nana is what's that?
Ragdoll would be the most banned one in that, depending on like your comp. Like in my case, I would have banned the Ragdoll.
Well, no, I'm not even trying to. I'm not trying to make this an argument about nerfing Nana. I don't think Nana should be.
No, I'm not saying that either. I'm not saying
that. But the thing to keep in mind overall is that every super annoying elemental unit that you are personally pissed off by. I'm talking to the audience here. All of them have way lower win rates than basically every LD5 that's meta relevant. Yeah. Like every LD5 in this game, like there's not too many of them like in that I would consider meta relevant that even have sub 50% win rates. Like most of the time in Guardian, like some of this is just a feature of when people like their LD5, they put all their good runes on it, they use it, they build comps around it. Of course, it's going to win when they draft the stuff that they want to draft, right?
Yeah.
But like, there just are not comparable elemental units in that way.
Yeah.
Like I mean, even Kinky's like a 52% win rate. He's not even LD5. Like,
yeah. No,
I don't know. I it's just
well thought in.
Yeah, I mean, win rates are a little bit tough though, just because like. I don't know. It's always a weird thing for me because especially too, like I'll see like a Seishizo tier list or something, right? And he's talking about G3 win rate. And it's like, okay, well, the average player in that rank has like a 60+% win rate just on their account, regardless of what they happen to be picking at that time. Like they're all, if you're looking at only that rank, and every single player in that rank has a 60+% win rate, then obviously the units at the top are going to have like, so it's just a weird thing because it's like even units can get overrated based on like you said with Nana, like how crazy her win rate is. And we all agree Nana does not need to get nerfed, right? It's like, but it's because she's either being used by really good players who have high win rates, or she's being combined with other units that are carrying a bit of that load, you know? So
yeah. But keeping on the Nana example, what was Nana's pick rate again?
21.
Like 20%, right?
20%.
All right, and then what's Oliver's win rate? Or sorry, pick rate.
Pick rate's 60, almost 61%.
Right?
Triple.
And then the next one after that
is more also with a 61%.
Okay. And then Masha was
52.
And then Shizuka.
Shizuka 46.
Okay. So the comparison, this is what I spoke about before we started before we started recording, is that Nana's pick rate is way lower than her win rate. That's irrelevant because I think that makes sense to me. Because win rate on the high pick rate units, this was jumbling my words, high pick rate units are always going to have like a 50-50 win rate. The win rate for Shizuka, Oliver, Masha, and more is pretty much 50% if you look at the data. So that's irrelevant because it's always being picked. One person is going to win with this unit or one person is going to lose with this unit. So the win rate is irrelevant if the pick rate is so high.
Well,
the
that's,
thing
that's
is,
not entirely true because like sometimes the high pick rate unit does have an insane win rate, and then it's like clear sign of.
But
I'm saying
it never.
I'm saying
but it's never
currently,
that high though. Like it really isn't.
Currently.
Like
no. I mean, Oliver was at like a
he peaked at like 53, right? Win rate.
Yeah, but he was up to like a 53% win rate with like a 65 or 70% pick rate. Like that's like clearly like, oh, this unit is you just first pick it.
Yeah, but he's like I consider Oliver like the exception to the rule. Like he took the game over like for a couple of seasons there, and is still super good. Huh? Wusa had he took the game over for one season, but like it's just the problem is it's like when you have units that are picked so often. The other thing too is that a lot of times they're fighting each other, right? Like Moore and Masha are fighting each other all the fucking time. Like probably thousands of games every single day. A Moore fights a Masha.
Yeah.
Only one of them can get a win out of that match. Like I don't think that's necessarily like I don't think you can take from that like the end result, like to say which unit is better or worse. Like, okay, like, so they're both going to land somewhere around 50 almost inevitably because Moore's not going to win every single time. Masha's not going to win every single time, but they're in the same match on separate sides fucking 2,000 times a day, So it's like, I don't know. It's just a weird thing, but
I'm just saying with these specific units that they're just picked way too much, and it doesn't matter if the argument that comes out of this is say, okay, we nerf these 4, excluding Nana from most picked, the 4 most picked right now. These get nerfed, and then there's a new 4. That's expected. That's normal.
Yeah, but at least we get a new 4.
Yes, exactly.
I'm happy with that. Yeah.
And then guess what happens after that? We hopefully get a new 4, and after that, we hopefully get a new 5, maybe a new 6. I would love to see a new 6. Do you know what? 6 is pretty fucking diverse.
Yeah.
In comparison to 4.
Well, okay, actually,
4 is not because it's not just first pick, right? But something that we were talking about. It's not just first pick, right? It's the response to first pick. And what's the response to first pick if somebody takes Oliver? It's going to be more Masha. It's still within the first 4 units. And we were talking about if it was calculated, I don't think it was. We're saying the 2-3 picks of the draft of the 10 units, if it was actually counted towards first pick ratings on the site. I wish
it was, but
we don't. It's for sure that it doesn't count, right?
No, it doesn't count that.
Right. Well, then imagine, like we're saying with the first 4 units, you can't tell me you don't play with these first 4 units for the last almost a year. I'm not saying 8 months, almost a year. We've been playing with these units. That's why these 4 need to be nerfed from most picked, and then have it wherever.
Actually, there was one more thing that I wanted to talk about, and we've already been going for like quite a while, so this can be like the last little anecdote or whatever. But what I was thinking about was, so we had that episode with Say a few weeks ago, and what we were talking about was like how this meta feels like it's like the most diverse or whatever. Like it feels like there's the largest number of meta units, but like what I was thinking about earlier today was, so let's just say like there's 20 units that we would all consider meta that you're going to fight every single night. There's like 20 units. You're going to see them on a rotation. That's your meta, right? What I'm wondering is that better or worse than when there was maybe 5 units that we considered meta, but then 150 units or whatever that you would consider viable, right? So like, because I think right now we might have the biggest pool of units that we consider meta. Maybe it's 20, maybe it's 30 units, but I think we have the smallest pool of units ever that are actually viable. You know what I mean? So like you have the biggest pool of really strong units. So maybe that's good. Maybe that's like, it makes it more likely that you own one of the strongest units, right? Maybe you're missing Masha, but you have Chung Pung or whatever. But I think we have the smallest pool ever of units that are genuinely viable. Like, you can use this, you can win. Like, because I was thinking earlier about like old metas when we had like remember when Feint was using like not even just Mav, but he was using like he was like a Vio 2A Bernard on like crit damage as like a bruiser and like just crushing people's heads in. And like when Obabo was using Daphnis before any of the buffs. If you guys don't remember Daphnis before its buffs, it was widely considered the worst unit in all of Summoner's War. And he was
5 patches later, it
and,
got better.
and he was in high G3, which at the time was top 100 only, using this fucking unit like every single game because it just felt more like you could force units to work if you really tried. You could make units that were like semi-viable actually perform, whereas right now I feel like you can't do that at all.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, I would actually really like to do some more like data analysis, I guess, on like number of units that rose to like say a 1% pick rate like in each season, and then try to track like the total diversity over time. But because like I do feel like you're onto something a bit with the fact that like there's a lot of units that just like you almost literally can't play with because if you try, like effectively it's to use them, it's more like you take your 3 giants of the meta and then they carry your fucking fun unit kicking and screaming over the winning the finishing line. It's like, haha, I'm gonna bomb you with John. It's like on the back of a Nepthi's Wounded draft. It's like, okay,
exactly.
It's like, okay, cool. John won, I guess. Good job. And John's like put his pin on himself, like, yay.
Yeah. well, like the thing that I always like to point to, it's like the thing with the counter picks. It's like, okay, so you released Douglas, for example, right? Because Oki and Chung Peng were taking over the game, right? So it's like, okay, so Douglas now beats Chung Peng, but what does he do to Charlotte and fucking Savannah? And he beats the shit out of those units, right? So now they just get shoved out, and it's like, okay, so now there's this unit that's in the way of my Chung Peng, but he also has completely removed those other units just from any form of viability because everyone has their Douglas runed, it's ready for people's Chung Pengs, and now because of that, you can't reliably use... I mean, Charlotte is good. You can use Charlotte, but there's a fuckload of wind units you sure as hell can't use because Douglas exists. It's like...
It's not even just wind units, though. Like, you can't have a unit shut down my Shazam. I'm not going to build my Shazam with plus 3,000 attack. It's not even just Shazam.
Yeah.
Like, Shazam's a shit unit.
Anything.
But, like, anything not high attack can't be eliminated from the game. And then that applies to, like, a bunch of other units. Like, I can't have me not dick around with any unit I want, and just because I get screwed over by not having 3,000 attack. Just like a unit having a stun, I get screwed over by Josephine. A unit has a
speed
AoE.
A unit has speed scaling,
and now Leo eliminates it.
Now you can't fight with Leo. Yeah.
My 4-star cookie has an AoE. Now it loses to Verd. These counter picks eliminate viability. It doesn't matter if everything is brought open. The amount of counters out there now.
It's a huge misstep by Comtos where they're like, well, we don't want to nerf units, right? We don't want to make people mad. We don't want to nerf their Hathor. We just want to buff the Juno. We don't want to nerf their Okeanos, which they did, but but it was before they nerfed Okeanos, they did the Douglas buff, and then it's just such a shit show, because it's like, okay, yes, you succeeded in reducing Chung Peng's viability, but at what cost? It's at reducing every wind unit's viability and every AoE's viability. It's like, is that really a fair trade-off? Just nerf the fucking Chung Peng. Just suck it up and nerf the fucking Chung Peng. We don't need to ruin every wind unit's life because Chung Peng is torturing people. Like, just nerf it. Fuck, god damn it.
The thing we spoke about before, like a couple of podcasts ago, is restoration stones that they have in Chronicles. Introduce it into Sky Arena, so that if somebody did a restoration stone is like it fully resets the unit back to a normal 5-star unawakened.
You get your devils back.
you get everything back. All the resources you spent come back to you. That needs to be implemented in Sky Arena so they can nerf and buff whatever they want.
They can more fearlessly. Yeah, they can more fearlessly do that.
We don't want to kill this person's investment into X unit. Like all the Gurkha owners, I want them to use that as a statistic. How many Gurkha owners restored their Gurkha because of the nerf? There'll probably be 99% of them just sucked everything out of their Gurkha, threw it back in storage. Yeah. Oh look, we nerfed this unit way too much. Let us rebuff it somehow. And I love using Gurkha as an example in this, but like a restoration stone that they use in one of their own games.
Oki's a good example for that. He vanished off the face of the planet when they nerfed him and buffed Douglas. Gone.
So, restoration stones need to be in Sky Arena. I've said it before. I want to say it again. I'm going to say it every podcast. Restoration stones in Sky Arena so that Comptos can learn. If they're not going to test, because they clearly don't.
No, they don't.
Let us do the testing. Let us take the data of people who restore or build units based on your patch, and then go from there.
Address it.
You guys don't do anything. I don't know, because you can't just.
Yeah,
I want to go.
I just want.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to touch on that because I keep seeing people saying that this meta is like the most varied.
Diverse? It's not,
and it's like I just hard disagree. Like maybe there's the most strong units ever, but there is not the most units ever. Like it's just not how it is. But yeah, we can call it there. Thank you for joining us, Apze. Links in the description for his hot new YouTube channel.
Yes, I was just gonna say.
And yeah,
YouTube. That's cool.
Goodbye, everyone. Maybe actually no, we'll most likely see you guys next week because Pat should be.
Yeah, definitely. Right. So probably a midweek one. Peace out.